Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Good afternoon, and I am joined today by Simon Lofts, all the way from Nook. Hi, Simon. How are you?
Hi, Ashley. Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Cool. Yeah, I'm buzzing. I love doing these lives, but a little bird tells me this is your first ever LinkedIn live.
It certainly is. Yeah, it's a big day for me today.
Don't worry, I'll be gentle with you. It'll be absolutely fine. So what I try and do is find out a little bit more about what you guys are doing to help our accountants and bookkeepers. So first off, tell us a little bit about yourself, please, Simon.
About me. So yeah, I currently work at Nook, but I've been in the accounting sphere for getting on a decade now. I started at ICAEW. I worked for Economia magazine, and then I moved to Sydney and got a job at a company called HubDoc, who a lot of people tend to know about because it was acquired by Xero. And then through that acquisition, I spent several years at Xero, mostly overseas in New Zealand, in Auckland, 2.5 years in New Zealand in a variety of roles, but always working with accountants and bookkeepers and being kind of client and partner facing. And yeah, moved home, left Xero. I got a job at a company called Coconut, which was sole trader bookkeeping and tax software. And unfortunately, due to the MTD, it's a delay. There was a bit of downsizing earlier this year, and I was part of that, which was deeply stressful. But you were on hand to offer support and guidance and advice, particularly from a LinkedIn perspective, Ashley. I'll never forget how proactive you were at reaching out of that, given all the other tech layoffs that were going on. But I found a new home at Nook in April. So yeah, been here a few months now, really excited by what we're doing, our growing partner base, and yeah, helping accountants and bookkeepers with accounts payable, supplier payments, payroll payments, and yeah, helping their small business clients with that as well. So yeah, a bit of a journey. Yeah,
no, it's a great journey. And the thing is, right, once you get into this space, it's just a lovely space to be. Everyone's collaborative, friendly, helpful, and you know, we all want you to get on, including Devon Newton. I don't know if you know Devon, but she's saying congratulations on your first live. So
hi, Devon.
Yeah. So you do know Devon, and just in case you didn't know, I live in Devon. So I love your name, Devon. That's really cool. You'd think I'd live up Yorkshire way with my name, wouldn't you? But I don't. I've only ever been a few times. So okay. What is Nook then? What it, you know, why do I need payment software? Surely I can do that myself through Xero and QuickBooks.
Yeah, well, you can't, unfortunately, through your accounting software actually process payments, although Xero did have a product for a little bit with partnership with Wise, but yeah, you technically you could use that, but the vast majority of small and medium-sized businesses will be processing payments manually in their bank accounts, which comes with a few problems. One is that manual payments, basically entering in every payment into your bank account, is very time consuming, very stressful. It's hard to know as well and get visibility sometimes of what payments you actually need to be entering in, who needs to get paid, what were they getting paid for, when. And yeah, we make that process a lot easier by pulling the data out of Xero, QuickBooks, and helping small and medium-sized businesses to process payments more efficiently, but also de-risking the process and delegating payment authority to the people that need to do it. Anyone that's tried to give other people access to the bank account knows it's a very convoluted process, very often sharing login details, that kind of stuff, which is not ideal. So yeah, it's about de-risking and giving a load of efficiency, load of time saving. And with that delegation of authority, it makes it very easy then for an accountant or a bookkeeper to process payments on behalf of clients, where there seems to be a rise in demand from small businesses asking that of their accountants and bookkeepers. Please, can you make my payments for me? Every practice we speak to has at least 1 or 2 clients asking them to do their payments for them, because it's so time consuming and not a nice process.
So traditionally then, if I'm running my accountancy or bookkeeping practice, I'll be manually going into my client's bank account to manually make these payments to, from invoices, whereas Nook will take over and just do it all for me.
Pretty much. So there's lots of human touch involved. So it's not a fully automated process by any stretch. Still the right amount of control in there. But yeah, we speak to a lot of practices that will say, yes, we do process payments for clients today, but we only do it for a couple. And the couple of clients they do it for, there's this very often very long-standing client, deep level of trust. They're in the client's bank account, and no practice wants to be doing that because of, if something bad happens with the bank account, whether it was the accountant's fault or not, you're kind of in that sort of you're someone that's going to be investigated and interrogated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, practices, actively avoid it for obvious reasons, and that's why when you speak to lots of practices, this sort of payments as a service or payments processing as a service is not often something that's proactively offered, because the only way to have done that has been previously to access clients' bank accounts, which, like I said, no one wants to be doing.
No, not at all. So now I can offer another service to my clients, make them more sticky, give a bit more value, increase my fees.
100%. Yeah. So whether that is a bolt-on to your bookkeeping service offering, or whether you create an entirely new sort of service offering around accounts payable and payments, there's an opportunity there, yeah, like you say, to delight the clients, give them another reason to never look for another accountant. And I think it's if you're doing bookkeeping for a client already, you're obviously in the day-to-day, the business well, the financials well, and payments is another opportunity to just get that bit closer, understand the goings on and the operations of the business from a financial perspective. So it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, no, perfect. And I'm really sorry that what happened with Coconut, but I think we can all blame that on the government and the what they've been doing, kicking that can down the road. And thank you for acknowledging the help that I gave you. LinkedIn's a great place, and it wasn't long before you found something. So how long has Nook been going?
Yeah, Nook is a relatively young company in the grand scheme of things. If you think Xero's been around for a very long time now, but the company was founded 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
And as with a lot of startups, was in stealth mode for a good 1.5 years, just really building the product out and ensuring that there was something that could work before we really started to take it to market. But I say we, I wasn't there at the time, but Joe and Henry, the 2 co-founders, Nook was part of the early adopters hub, which you may have come across, which a group of tech savvy, tech loving accountants and bookkeepers that really feed into product development at an early stage for accounting tech and fintech businesses. So for that 1.5 years, we were building Nook based around the needs of accountants and bookkeepers and what they were telling us small businesses needed as well. So yeah, we've really been going to market, so to speak, for the last year or so, really focused on accountants and bookkeepers.
Yeah, no, and so you might want to say hello to Raja. So he's also got a product out that is pretty new to market. Hi Raja, nice to see you.
Hi Raja.
And this is the thing, isn't it? It can seem that the market is saturated with shiny new toys, but there's a definite need for these things, because now that we've got all this AI, we've got open banking, we're struggling for time. If you've got a good idea and you can make something that makes the lives of accountants and bookkeepers easier, then why wouldn't you do it?
100%. 100%. Yeah, it's a very busy space. Xero's app ecosystem's 1,000 apps now, so it's a lot of noise. But I do think that there's still a lot of work to be done on just some of the fundamental tasks for accounting, finance, and payments is really one that, we think about AI and all these shiny great things, but the process of making payments today without a tool wouldn't look out of place decades ago with desktop software. So there's a lot of fundamental problems still to be solved before sort of looking at more of the shiny stuff. But find a problem that's annoying, solve it well, and you'll make lots of people very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're speaking to accountants and bookkeepers, and you like you said, you have been for over a decade now. What sort of challenges are you seeing them have at the moment, Simon?
Yeah, I think other people have said this, because I watch these 15 minutes with accountants and bookkeepers nearly every week, and I'm pretty sure someone else had said this, but there seems to be an issue with hiring, but every practice I speak to has aspirations for growth, and hiring seems to be a bit of a thorn in the side. Can't find the right people at the right time, and that's definitely a challenge that I've seen almost across the board. I think a couple of firms don't seem to struggle with hiring that are very visible on social media and stuff like that. They seem to have these long waiting lists of talent, but I think you talk to the vast majority of practices, they just can't find the right people, the right skill sets quickly enough.
Yeah, and you're quite right there. There are some practices that are absolutely flying, but not worrying about hiring staff because they're doing the right things on social media. Now there's a thought, but it is difficult because there's you said that people want to grow their practices. Well, you can't grow your practice if you haven't got the tool, the people to do the work. So what can you do? Any suggestions, any solutions, anything you find other people doing well?
Yeah, I think a bit of a systems and processes review is worth doing to understand where there are areas to improve efficiency. Can you save a lot of time, billable time, with someone doing a lot of manual tasks, that kind of stuff, where that time could be better spent on higher value work. Singing from the same hymn sheet as everyone else, really. Everyone will have heard that before. But I think, if I think about it in the context of Nook, if your growth is around revenue rather than just staff numbers, then is there an opportunity to introduce a new service or solution that doesn't require a lot of additional time, but can see increase in revenue without necessarily having to increase capacity? That could be a good way. By no means a silver bullet, but 15% increase in a monthly fee if you added payments in, that could, without spending much more time on it, could be a really beneficial way of increasing revenue slightly.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? I want to grow my business. Does growing your business mean more customers, clients? Does it mean more revenue? Does it mean more profit? There's how do we measure it? Some people measure the size of their business on their turnover, whereas others want to have an office in every town, every county in the UK, or every town in a certain county, or I want 3 offices, I want 5 offices, or whatever. If it's based on pure monetary values, if we can do more with what we've got, then obviously we're looking at streamlining solutions and things like that. The other thing is from what you're saying, many practices have inquiries for doing payments, but not many people take it up because, like you said, the inherent risk and time. Whereas that could be a new service, and so are you seeing that happening with some of your clients taking Nook on board?
Yeah, 100%. From small practices through to top 100 firms, there seems to be, because there is this demand from clients, an appetite to find a solution that will sort of power that service or enable that service. So yeah, started to see that quite a lot now. So yeah, it's exciting.
And is payment software a new thing? Is, you know, because again, some of the stuff we see nowadays is all like, oh, didn't even know that was such a thing. Do you know, I still talk to people that haven't used ChatGPT or don't know what it is, and they're like, really? So is that the same with payment software?
We are in a very tech heavy sphere, though, aren't we? I suppose we live in a bit of a bubble. I use ChatGPT probably way too much, both in my personal life and my work life. I absolutely love it. But look, I think so. The first payment solution in this space was Teleroo, and Teleroo's been around for a little while. But what I think we've seen is just an increase in awareness, or an increasing awareness of payment solutions, and I think that's helped by new entrants coming, banging the drum and shouting about it. So yeah, it's definitely new in the grand scheme of things. If you think like data capture apps like Dex and HubDoc, they're like well over a decade old, but payments would be, I think, 5 or 6 years old. So it is relatively new, but awareness of these solutions is definitely increasing. I think adoption of these solutions is still relatively low, but that will come over time, now that the awareness is growing. Okay, so I'm listening to this show, either on the podcast or watching it live right now, and I'm sort of like thinking, never really thought of payments, and now I think it's a good idea, but I'm still filled with dread. What sort of worries would I be having? Obviously, I'm not an accountant or a bookkeeper, so I wouldn't even know anything about it. What sort of worries would I be having as an accountant bookkeeper watching this right now, thinking, "Oh my goodness, I've got to do payments"? I think it's money changing hands, which is just an inherently sort of stressful thing to be thinking about. I would definitely ask a few of your closest clients, your friendlies, if I was to ask you if you wanted me to start helping you with payments, what would you say? And get a feel for it. It might not be right for every practice and every client, but if you already do bookkeeping for clients, I think it's far more likely that they're going to want you to be doing their payments. And a lot of clients we know are more controlling than others, a little bit more hands-on, less hands-off. But it may not be the service that you need to offer in that respect, but recommending a solution to make their life easier if they want to use Nook themselves or another payment solution themselves. I think that could add a lot of value as well. But with Nook, like a lot of the other apps out there, we do offer accountants and bookkeepers a free Nook account. So if there is any sort of apprehension around using a new tool to execute payments, accountants and bookkeepers can sort of get warmed up to it by using it themselves and seeing if it saves them time in their own business. So yeah, if you've got any worries, get a free Nook account and just give a couple of test payments a try and see how it works. No, that sounds like a good idea. Will you hold their hand while they do this, or they got to do it all themselves? 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. We always try to offer as much support with setup, the first couple of payment runs and things like that, and really build people's confidence level up, because it is, again, payments, which can be quite stressful and there is a lot of apprehension around it. So yeah, we always offer that support.
No, cool. So what's a top tip that you can you can suggest to accountants and bookkeepers at the moment?
A top tip for accountants and bookkeepers. It's a good question, because I speak to a lot of practices that seem to be, doing a really, really good job. So it always feels like I'll be teaching people to suck eggs with a top tip from me. But I think keeping a finger on the pulse of the solutions that are coming to market that solve really quite fundamental problems, perhaps ones that aren't dressed up as bells and whistles, the sort of the old adage of, if you haven't got good data in the general ledger, what good is a data and analytics reporting tool? So any other tools that can help with the fundamentals would be a really good place to just really keep a finger on the pulse of what's out there. And like I say, accountants and bookkeepers all seem to be doing a good job. And I do have a lot of connections on LinkedIn that do a very good job of shouting about the good job that they're doing.
Yeah.
But a lot I don't see a lot of, even though I'm connected with them. So be more forthcoming with celebrating your wins and shouting about the good job that you're doing. I'd like to see that a little bit more.
Yeah, we don't do that enough. I think that's a British thing, Simon, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Raja's come up with a question for you. Does Nook help with accounts receivables?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. We have an accounts receivables solution in a bit of a closed beta at the moment, and no real timelines on when that would be released publicly. But we're working on it.
Oh, fantastic. Have you got a story of how you've really helped an accountant or a bookkeeper with your solutions?
Yes, I do, because I've not been at Nook too long. I think I would use Coconut probably as an example, where we were working with a small bookkeeping practice that had a lot of sole trader tax returns that they needed to do, and like all accounting and bookkeeping practices that have self-assessments to do for clients, it's a horrendous season and a terrible time of year for a lot of people.
We're just going into it, aren't we? So
yeah.
All leave has been cancelled.
Exactly. Wishing everyone the best for the next few months. But sole traders, inherently manual, very spreadsheet based, and really, really heavy users of personal bank accounts, because there's no necessarily like a legal requirement to use a business bank account if you're still a sole trader. And so getting your hands on that kind of data was a real challenge for all of them. But we rolled out Coconut across 10 of their sole trader clients, and this bookkeeper for the first time ever had real-time access to their clients' transactions and data, and was very easily able to pull together a self-assessment in just a few minutes. And as a result of that, their January was very, very different to previous Januaries, and they were very, very grateful. And that was heavily software focused, but also I think the people and the processes we built around that at Coconut, around ensuring that accountants and bookkeepers had the right support, onboarding support, knew how to use it themselves before rolling it out to clients, and just ensuring that all of their clients are set up and okay and using it and engaged with it. So yeah, it's far from life and death with software. We're not changing people's lives dramatically, but to get your January back and not be stressed at the 31st of Jan and super stressed out. That's what that bookkeeper had said, that we'd changed her Januaries forever, which was really nice. But it's one rambling, waffly story.
Yeah, no, but it just shows that using the right software for the right application can change your life, make life easier, just simplify your processes and stuff, sure. and stuff like that. So if I want to know more about Nook, get hold of you.
Yeah, just drop me an email at si at nook.io.
Dead easy.
Or yeah, head to nook.io on the website.
That link, all that LinkedIn thing, apparently.
Reach out to me on LinkedIn. That'd be great as well. Simon Lofts.
That seems to work too. So
do you like LinkedIn, Ashley?
I do like LinkedIn. I think it's gonna work. So my last question
Sure.
is: when you were at school, running around the playground, when you were primary school, running around the playground with your shorts on, kicking a football or whatever, what did Simon Lofts want to be when he left school?
Oh, I wanted to be so many things. Which is why I ended up not going to university, because I just could not decide. But for a long period of time at school, I wanted to be a journalist. Really wanted to be a journalist.
How cool is that?
Investigative journalist. I liked English and was okay at writing back then. It seems to have deteriorated as I've got older. But I still love, my wife and I love true crime.
Yep.
Those kind of investigative journalists and podcasts and things like that, and listening to them. So still sort of an interest in that, but never pursued it.
Have you seen the latest series about Stuart Sutcliffe?
No. Where is that? Is that Netflix?
It's called Long Shadow. I think it was on ITV.
Okay.
It is. I can't think of his name now. Oh, it's gone. It's absolutely gone. The guy that does the spoof radio show, Alan Partridge, him, Steve Coogan.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Coogan. No, that was a different show. Now I think I've got two decent dramas that I've watched recently, but the Long Shadow, it's all about Stuart Sutcliffe, was an amazing show. And if you're into that sort of journalism and stuff like that, interesting show. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing this new thing. I think this is brilliant. Hopefully you'll get a lot of people having a chat. I guess we can see you at all the shows next year.
Yes, yeah, we'll be at all the shows. The growing number of shows. So yeah, we'll be there.
Awesome, and thank you very much to Raja and Devon for coming on and doing a few comments there for me. And we will see you all next week. Cheerio, Simon.
Thanks, Ashley. See ya.
You get out what you put in.